A woman named Eloise Parker is a retired schoolteacher who lives alone on a farm. She has a quiet life, but she is very kind. She rents out her barn to a quiet guy named Adam Clay. Clay spends all his time taking care of bees. He makes honey, stays out of trouble, and seems like just a regular, peaceful guy. Eloise treats him like family, and Clay really appreciates her for it. Eloise Parker is alone in her quiet farmhouse. She sits down at her desk to use her laptop, just like she does every day. Suddenly, a loud, alarming noise comes from the computer. The screen flashes with a bright red warning. The message says that her computer has a dangerous virus and that all her personal data is being stolen. It tells her she must call a tech support phone number immediately to fix the problem. Panicked and scared, Eloise dials the number. She has no idea that she is calling a high-tech scam company filled with hundreds of criminals. On the other end of the line, a slick, professional-sounding scammer answers. He acts nice and pretends he is there to help her save her computer. He tells her she needs to download a special program so he can fix the virus. Eloise trusts him and follows his instructions. By doing this, she accidentally gives the scammer total remote access to her computer. The scammer quickly opens her bank accounts. On his end, he can see exactly how much money she has. He starts transferring everything out. Eloise watches her screen in absolute horror as the numbers drop to zero. First, they drain her personal bank account, taking every single dollar she has to live on. But it gets much worse. Eloise also manages a massive charity fund that contains over $2 million. The scammer finds this account too. He laughs, mocks her over the phone, and drains the entire charity account in seconds. The call goes dead. Eloise sits in total silence, staring at the empty screen. The shock settles in. She realizes she has lost her life savings, and even worse, the millions of dollars meant to help other people are completely gone. The guilt, shame, and devastation are too much for her to handle. Feeling completely hopeless and seeing no way out, Eloise walks into the other room and takes her own life. Later that same day, Adam Clay finishes his work with the bees. He packs a jar of fresh honey and walks over to the main house to give it to Eloise as a gift. He walks through the front door and calls her name, but the house is completely quiet. He walks further inside and stops in his tracks. He finds Eloise lying dead on the floor from a gunshot wound. While Clay is standing there in shock, a car pulls up to the house. Eloise's daughter, Verona Parker, steps out. Verona is an FBI agent who is just coming over for a normal visit. She walks through the front door and sees a horrifying sight. Her mother is dead, and a large, quiet man she doesn't know is standing right next to the body. She thinks Clay murdered her mother, and yells at him to put his hands up. She arrests him on the spot. Soon, the local police arrive with flashing lights. They put Clay in handcuffs, place him in the back of a police cruiser, and take him to the local station. However, Clay doesn't stay locked up for long. Back at the house, the police and crime scene investigators look closely at the evidence. They quickly figure out that nobody else was in the room when Eloise died. They confirm that she took her own life and that Clay had absolutely nothing to do with it. Verona is completely heartbroken, but she explains to Clay what the police found. She tells him about the computer scam that drained her mother's bank accounts and drove her to suicide. Clay listens quietly, soaking in the information, but now he knows exactly what happened to his friend, and he is ready to do something about it. Clay returns to the farm. He stands outside his barn, completely devastated by the loss of Eloise, the only person who truly cared for him. He looks over at her empty house, and his sadness turns into pure anger. He realizes the legal system cannot fix this, so he decides to handle it his own way. He is contacting the Beekeepers, the ultra-secret, off-the-books government organization he used to work for. He gets in touch with a high-ranking contact named Anika. Clay explains the situation. A heartless data mining call center scammed a defenseless old woman and drove her to suicide. He tells Anika that he wants the exact location of the group responsible. A few moments later, Anika sends Clay the exact coordinates and name of the operation, a United Data Group call center located right in the city. Clay drives into the city and tracks down the exact office building housing the United Data Group call center. The center is managed by Mickey Garnett. Clay parks his truck, gets out, and casually grabs two large yellow cans filled with gasoline. The security guards at the front desk look confused and try to stop him, but Clay doesn't say a word. In a flash, he uses his elite combat skills to completely overpower the guards, knocking them out cold in seconds.
You aware this is a criminal outfit? Scamming the weakest in our society? Stealing everything they have? Do you know that's who you work for?
He kicks open the main doors to the call center floor, still holding the gas cans. The music cuts out and the scammers stop celebrating, staring at him in confusion. He looks out at the panicked room of scammers and gives them a simple, direct warning. They have exactly 10 seconds to run out of the building if they want to live. The scammers completely lose their minds, screaming and stampeding out of the emergency exits. Clay calmly walks down the rows of computers, unscrewing the caps on his cans. He starts splashing gasoline all over the expensive electronic equipment, the desks, and the floor. Mickey Garnett steps out of his private office, furious and yelling at his remaining security team to shoot Clay. Two armed guards pull out their guns, but Clay reacts instantly. He uses one of the heavy gas cans to smash a guard in the face and uses a quick, brutal takedown to disarm the second one. Garnett also runs for his life, realizing this man is an absolute monster. Once the room is completely empty, Clay calmly drops the burning lighter onto the gasoline-soaked floor. The fuel catches instantly, triggering a massive chain reaction of explosions that tears through the office, blowing out the windows and burning the entire multi-million-dollar scam operation straight to the ground. After the call center burns down, Mickey Garnett has to call his big boss, the young and super-rich tech executive Derek Danforth. Derek is completely furious that someone destroyed his property. He does not know anything about the Beekeepers, so he assumes Clay is just a regular guy who got lucky. Derek screams at Garnett over the phone and orders him to take a group of armed thugs, find Clay at his farm, and kill him immediately. Garnett gathers a squad of heavily armed men and they drive out to Eloise's property. They roll up to the quiet farm thinking this will be an easy hit, but Clay is already waiting for them in the shadows of the barn. As soon as the thugs step out of their vehicles, Clay ambushes them. What follows is an absolute slaughter. The thugs try to shoot, but Clay moves too fast. He uses brutal martial arts, blocks their weapons, and turns their own guns against them. In just a couple of minutes, Clay completely destroys the entire squad, leaving all of Garnett's men unconscious or dead on the ground.
My bitch now!
Garnett is left completely alone and terrified. He tries to run away, but Clay easily catches him. Clay wants to send a painful message to the people running the scam company. He grabs Garnett and uses a heavy tool to sever his fingers. Garnett screams in agony.
We can talk. We can fix
Clay then takes a thick, heavy rope. He ties one end tightly around Garnett's body and hooks the other end to the back bumper of a vintage pickup truck. Clay gets behind the wheel and drives the truck straight toward a massive drawbridge over a deep river. He speeds up, slams on the brakes right at the edge of the bridge, and lets the momentum launch the heavy truck over the side. The falling truck yanks the rope, dragging a screaming Garnett off the bridge and plunging him into the freezing waters below to his death.
You have the pleasure of speaking with.
You. You burned up my $1 million call center.
Now I'm gonna burn you down. You haven't told me your name.
I told you my name. You, fuck you, and you remember it. Because you don't burn me down, I burn you down. You are with forces that you cannot comprehend.
You sound young. I bet you don't have estate planning.
I'm 28 years old, why would I need that?
I'm about to show you.
News travels fast after Mickey Garnett is pulled off the bridge. Wallace Westwild, the man running security for Derek Danforth, steps in to figure out what is going on. Westwild is not just any regular bodyguard, he is the former director of the CIA. He looks at the security footage, reads the police reports, and immediately recognizes the brutal, flawless style of the attack. Westwild realizes that Adam Clay is not an ordinary citizen seeking revenge. He figures out that Clay is a retired, high-level operative from the top-secret Beekeeper program. Westwild knows exactly how dangerous a beekeeper can be, and he realizes his private security guards stand absolutely no chance of stopping him. Terrified of what Clay will do next, Westwild calls his old contacts at the CIA headquarters. He tells them that an ex-beekeeper has gone rogue and is actively destroying their operations. The CIA takes the warning seriously and contacts the leadership of the current Beekeeper program to let them know one of their old guys is breaking the rules. The Beekeeper organization decides they need to eliminate Clay before he exposes their existence to the public. They do not want a messy fight, so they dispatch their top active killer, a colorful and highly eccentric assassin named Anisette. Anisette tracks Clay down to a quiet, isolated gas station in the middle of nowhere. Clay is just standing by his truck when a brightly colored car pulls up. Anisette steps out wearing a wild, bright outfit, and she doesn't waste any time. She pulls out a massive, high-powered machine gun and starts spraying bullets everywhere, completely shredding the gas station and blowing up the gas pumps. But Clay is way too fast. Anisette thinks she has him cornered, but Clay uses the smoke and chaos to sneak around her. The fight quickly becomes a brutal, close-quarters match inside the gas station shop. Anisette is highly trained, but Clay's raw power and experience are too much for her to handle. He blocks her strikes, disarms her, and completely overpowers her. After a brief and intense struggle, Clay ends the fight by killing her right there on the shattered floor of the store. When the leadership of the Beekeeper organization hears about Anisette's death, they are completely shocked. They sent their best active agent, and Clay swatted her away like nothing. The directors of the program realize that trying to stop Clay is a suicide mission that will only get more of their agents killed and expose their secret group to the public. Derek Danforth is now completely on his own. Clay wastes no time tracking down the global heart of the entire scam network, the massive 9-star United Center. Because the building uses top-tier security scans, Clay brings along Anisette's biometric data from their earlier fight. He uses her high-level credentials to bypass the electronic scanners at the entrance, walking straight past security without raising a single red flag. Wallace Westwild has stationed a brutal private army of ex-special forces mercenaries on the upper levels, led by a ruthless tactical commander named Pettis. To make things even more complicated, an FBI SWAT team arrives at the building at the exact same time, trying to get to Clay first. Clay finds himself caught in a massive, multi-level war zone. He works his way up the skyscraper floor by floor, moving like a ghost through the hallways. When the ex-special forces mercenaries try to corner him, Clay engages in a series of incredibly fast, close-quarters gunfights and martial arts battles. He uses their own tactical gear against them, knocking out guards, sweeping legs, and taking down groups of elite soldiers 3 or 4 at a time. When the FBI SWAT team corners him in a narrow corridor, Clay doesn't want to kill the federal agents since they are just doing their jobs. Instead, he uses non-lethal, high-speed takedowns, shattering their tactical shields, disarming their rifles, and using flashbangs to blind them, leaving the entire team groaning on the floor while he slips away into the shadows.
I know you're the middleman. Who's above you?
They'll kill me.
You've stolen hundreds of millions from people who've done nothing but work hard all day. She was an educator, mom, dedicated her whole life to helping people. Yesterday she shot herself. She was the only person who ever took care of me.
Please, stop. I will. Let me show you. I told you they were untouchable.
Nobody's untouchable. Sometimes when the hive is out of balance, you have to replace the queen.
Clay clears his path to the ultimate target at the very top of the food chain. While Clay is busy breaking into 9-star, the FBI is running a massive background check on the entire operation. Agent Verona Parker and her team dive deep into the digital files, tracking the money trails, corporate shells, and secret bank accounts connected to the company. What they uncover absolutely blows the case wide open, lifting the curtain on a massive political scandal. The FBI agents discover that the cocky tech bro running the scam network, Derek Danforth, isn't just some random internet criminal. He is actually the son of Jessica Danforth, the current president of the United States. It gets even worse. As the agents dig deeper into the tech firm's secret code, Derek wasn't just pocketing the billions of stolen dollars to buy luxury cars and mansions. The FBI discovers that a massive portion of this dirty money was being funneled directly into his mother's highly expensive presidential election campaign. This discovery changes everything for the FBI. They realize this is no longer just a standard criminal investigation, it is a massive national security disaster. They now know exactly why former CIA Director Wallace Westwild is protecting Derek with a private army. If Clay manages to reach Derek and kill him, the entire US government will face an unprecedented collapse and the president's career will be completely ruined. The FBI realizes they have to race to the president's beachside estate to stop Clay before he exposes the ultimate rot at the very top of the country. With the 9-star hub destroyed and Clay closing in fast, Wallace Westwild realizes he can no longer keep the truth hidden. He takes Derek and goes directly to meet with President Jessica Danforth in a private office setting, forcing a tense family meeting to lay all the cards on the table. FBI Deputy Director Prigg sits the president down and delivers the crushing news. Her son Derek has been running a massive, illegal data mining scam network across the country. He explains that Derek didn't just use the stolen money for himself, he used the billions of dollars to secretly bankroll her entire presidential election campaign. Hearing this, President Danforth is absolutely horrified and disgusted. She had no idea her political rise was built on stolen money taken from everyday people. The president's secure beachside estate is locked down tight. Wallace Westwild has surrounded the entire property with layers of elite private security guards, secret service agents, and tactical teams. Westwild thinks this wall of security will keep them safe, but Clay uses the crowded, chaotic event to his absolute advantage. Instead of trying to sneak past the guards quietly, Clay decides to create a massive diversion to break their organization wide open. Moving through the shadows of the parked luxury cars outside the main gates, he quietly plants highly explosive devices on several of the vehicles. Suddenly, Clay triggers the bombs. A chain reaction of massive explosions rips through the parking area. Alarm systems start blaring, and absolute panic erupts inside and outside the mansion. He moves through the panicked crowd like a ghost. He is finally inside the same building as Derek Danforth, and nothing stands between him and his final target. Clay quietly slips deep into the hallways of the coastal mansion, pushing past the panicked guests. But before he can reach the room where Derek is hiding, his path is completely blocked by a massive, terrifying man named Lazarus. Lazarus is a legendary, ruthless mercenary leader with a prosthetic leg who has been hired by Westwild for extra security. He doesn't just view this as a job, he has an intense personal vendetta against the Beekeepers because one of them previously took his leg in a past conflict. He has been waiting a long time to get his revenge on anyone from that secret program. Lazarus uses everything from tactical knives to brass knuckles, desperate to finally kill a Beekeeper. Clay manages to turn the tables by using the environment against his attacker. Clay finishes the fight right there on the ruined hallway floor, killing the mercenary leader once and for all. covered in scratches and bruises.
Tell him the truth.
The tension hits an absolute breaking point. Derek Danforth is completely melting down. He is pacing the room, sweating, and realizing his entire luxury empire is collapsing. President Jessica Danforth looks at her son with pure disappointment and tells him the free ride is officially over. She restates her plan to hold a live global press conference to confess everything, admitting to the world that her campaign was funded by his illicit tech scams. Hearing this, Derek completely snaps. He realizes his own mother is going to ruin his life. In a flash of blind panic and fury, Derek pulls out a hidden handgun. He points it at Deputy Director Craig and pulls the trigger, shooting the FBI official dead right on the spot. Right at that exact second of absolute chaos, Clay breaches the room. The standoff is incredibly tense. Derek is screaming at the top of his lungs, threatening to blow his mother's brains out if anyone takes a step closer. The president is frozen in fear, staring at the unstoppable killer who just walked through the door, his eyes locked entirely on Derek. Derek is sweating, screaming. The very millisecond Derek starts to tense his finger on the trigger, Clay draws his weapon and fires a single, perfect shot. She locks eyes with Clay, aiming her gun straight at his chest. This is the ultimate moment of truth for Verona. After a long, incredibly tense silence, Verona slowly lowers her rifle. She makes her choice and decides to let him walk. Clay gives her a brief nod of mutual respect. Without wasting another second, he drops down onto the sandy beach below. Because a true beekeeper always plans ahead, Clay sprints across the sand to a specific spot where he had previously hidden a full set of professional underwater diving gear. He quickly puts on the suit and oxygen tank, rushes into the crashing waves, and disappears beneath the surface,